more cutting and grinding. Yay. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Let's go build something cool. We got a little informative project for you today. This bumper is on our ambulance project where we're doing a U-joint 6-inch lift. Be sure to check our other videos for comprehensive installation on that one. The customer brought this in, and in discussing some of the other things that he had done on the ambulance project, he mentioned to me that he had used his home flux core welder to weld up this bumper. This bumper is from Move. Now, one caveat I want to touch on. I have discussed with the customer about having this conversation with you folks at home, and he is okay with that. He is a teacher, he is a professor. In the interest of trying to educate you as the consumer, the off-roader, the overlander, the DIY guy, I want to bring you some information. Now, I am not the world's greatest welder, but I've burned some wire in my day. So, as you can see, the tow hook is here, and what I mentioned to him was, okay, well, how many passes did you make over this when you welded this together, and does this go all the way through and tie into the frame rail? And it does not. It is welded to the face of this bumper. That is not my favorite way to attach recovery points. You need to tie in recovery points as strongly as is physically possible in order to be able to ensure that if you go to yanking somebody out of the sand, if you go to having somebody help you get out of a stuck situation, if you need to winch off of something, that you've got a solid point to recover from. Trevor has spent about 5 minutes grinding this off. Now, the customer had welded it on and used Bondo over the seam to make it look pretty, as you can see here and over the edges. Not so much here, but this is a weld. This is, you know, this has been Bondoed up right here. You can see the Bondo hiding inside. You see the Bondo here, where he has finished the seams, and that makes them look pretty, but that doesn't add any strength. Now, this was done with a single pass of 140 amp home welder. We ground on this for less than 5 minutes, and that hook fell off. And I want to show you this here. This is where the Bondo was squished in underneath. And I also want to show you that there's been no beveling of this edge, so that you can't get any tie-in back to, say, this point on both sides. Now, you're going from something that's 3/4 of an inch thick to something that's 3/16 of an inch thick. Once again, not really my favorite way to do this. You can tell the fusion was basically non-existent in this area. You're barely cutting into the surface. You can also tell, look how much smoke and soot has made its way under because there wasn't a quality fit up. You can see where the plasma cut was originally done. So this was not prepped back to be nice and flat so that you had full engagement of the two surfaces. Guys, this is critical. This is something that would legitimately kill someone. As a matter of fact, it happened this summer. A guy did a recovery on somebody's truck, and they just hooked a strap over the ball, and it yanked the ball off of the tow hitch. It went through the windshield, and it killed the man. If you're not confident making these kinds of modifications and doing these kinds of welds, don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth the $100 or $200 or $5,000 that you're gonna save. It doesn't matter the price if somebody's gonna get hurt. Now, the proper way to fix this. First thing we did was sand back the Bondo so that we can get to nice clean metal. We got nice shiny clean metal. You can see how little tie-in was right here. These little waves, this is all that was holding this thing on. You get a guy with a 3/4 ton truck or even a Tacoma, it doesn't matter. You get somebody with a kinetic strap trying to pull on this mount, and it's gonna fail. That's if it doesn't rip the bumper off. Let's go look at the frame horns. He told me this was clearanced to fit the lights. So we're gonna rebuild this, and I'm gonna come up with a way to tie in our through frame bolts from our U-joint kit into our bumper mounting, so that you don't just have this thin, this is like 1/8 of an inch. I mean, you go yanking on this rig is 14,000 pounds. And you go yanking on this when it's buried up in the sand, and you're gonna pull the bumper right off of the front of this thing. It had 3, I think they were 3/8 carriage bolts holding this on. It looks fine at the car show, but it doesn't work in the real world. So the plan is, we're gonna go in and box this back in. We're gonna make some L brackets that tie in to our frame mounting, where we've got our big spacers off inside and 1/2 inch grade 8 fasteners going through, and then it's also tied in back in the back, and you're pulling on the suspension at that point. So it makes it into an all tied together package. This bolt hole just had a washer, like a normal washer on the back side. That's not good enough for recovery, and that's not good enough to have my name on it, or yours. So we're gonna do a little grinding. We're gonna show you how this is gonna go together. Okay, so the first step in the process is we're gonna grind this back down flat. We'll take a measurement off of here so we know where it goes, and we'll get this all nice and pretty down to clean metal. And then we'll also bevel this 3/4 inch plate, like I say, back about to this mark or so on each side, so that we've got a nice 45-degree bevel. We can get in there and really put some heat into this dude. As thick as this is, we'll probably fire up the torch and preheat this so that we get good penetration, because you don't want to try to just start throwing heat at cold metal. That's not good enough either. So we'll get this all prepped for you. Once we get done showing you how we do the recovery points, we'll flip the bumper over and I will show you the insides. This upper tube structure, I'll check it. We probably won't get real crazy with it because it's not really doing a ton, but we'll check it and make sure that there was some good heat in it based on how it looks on the backside. The other thing I'm worried about is not just the face of the bumper, but the actual mounting points on the inside, the inner structure. So tag along as we show you the right way to do this. It's not the only way, but I think it's the best way given what we've got to work with, and seeing as how we're working with something that's already pre-assembled. If we just started from scratch on this deal, might have gone about it a little bit different, but we're gonna make this into the best situation that we can. Oh, hi there. Well, after a full day worth of grinding, yeah, Trevor has got our bumper pretty much all cleaned up. It's really hard to get down in here. I will just turn that heat up. Yeah, that's fine. So there's these guys, and they're supposed to sit thusly on each side. But we had to cut off the part that's on the outside, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get in there to it, and all this other fun stuff. So I kind of got an idea. All right, what I think I'm going to do, because I've got some big tube at the house, is we're going to get a big old plate, and we're going to cut it to fit right here. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and weld on a piece of tube extension at the right height, and we'll mock it up and level it and get it all squared right here. And then...
No and then!
And then?
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 No and then!
That way we've got 4 sides and not just an L shape. And I'll be able to get in underneath, and our plate will have more strength. And so we'll have a big flat plate right here, and then we'll have a nice big box section that's welded on here. That ought to give us a little more strength. Okay, on our tow hook, since it's not going to be tied into the actual frame structure, which would be my preference, what I think I'm going to do is this dude is going to go under there. And so I'm going to mock it up and mark it. And I think I'm going to drill a few holes, probably 3 or 4 along here. Actually, probably one right in the crack too. So I can get me some big old rosette welds on the back side, and then tie that into our box section that goes right here. I think that's going to be the best way to handle this at this point, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get down in there and make good hand motions. Because if I got a big old plate sitting on top of here, I'm not gonna be able to see down here very well. So I think if we take our plate and we just tack the tube structure on, and then mount the plate, and then I can pull it off, I can preheat, I can burn that on, and then even though it's gonna block some of my vision, I'll at least be able to get all the way around all 4 sides. And we'll already have this guy welded on from the backside. You know, we'll cut a slit or a, you know, whatever. Anyways, I want to tie this into here as much as possible. And then when our box is sitting in this vicinity, like I said, we'll make some triangles to put into here, and down here, so we can just basically try to wrap as much of this, and maybe even on this side too. At least that way I can get some gusseting. That's the plan. Wish me luck. Let's cut to the montage. All right, audio is not going to be real great on this one because I haven't hooked up the microphone because I've been doing stuff. This came with the U-joint kit, and I'm using it to mock up and square our new mounting plates. I got them tacked in. My fit up here is lacking. It's a little gappy, and this side, same deal. So a little more than recommended gappage, but these boxes are really easy to make. So what I want to do is actually mock the bumper up over here on the ambo and make sure that it's going to fit, and make sure that it's not too high or too low or whatever. So we're just going to run with that for now. I got more of that 4-inch square, so we'll make more if we need to. All right, good news. We've got a little adjustment. We'll come up on this side because we're a little low on this side, but that's okay. I could pick that up before I snug it down. It would shimmy around. One thing I was concerned with is right here. Wow, couldn't have missed that by much less. So our leaf spring hanger and our bumper clearance, can't even get a finger in there, but it clears, so got lucky on that one. Let's see, this side not quite as tight but still close, so that tells us we're pretty square. All right, all in all, I think we can carry on. I think we'll be able to manage. Just this side need to come up more. Oh yeah, see, okay, so this will be a little bit of a problem. This side is gonna have to come up more, which is gonna tighten up this clearance here by just a little bit. So we'll check square on some stuff. I may need to bring the standoffs up about a 1/4 inch or so, because that's gonna bring the bumper down about a 1/4 inch, and that'll give us the clearance we need down here. So I think that'll work. That's probably the best bet. Well, I probably should have filmed some of this, but I was working. So anyways, we got rid of the little 90-degree nothing brackets and the fact that the deal, that's still really warm. The fact that the mounting brackets had been cut to make room for fog lights. So anyways, what I did was you saw us make the plates. I did make another set of standoffs. Those are 4x4 3/16, and so those are all burned in. As you can tell, I perimeter welded them and then actually did a couple stitches on the inside before we used our U-joint front bumper reinforcement plate and made that for our layout. Got it all laid out, and so that's all burned in nice and pretty under there. Little gappy on a couple spots, so I went back over a couple of places, but you know, for the most part, looks pretty good. It's kind of hard to get in here. That's actually second pass on that one, so yeah, it's a little on the toe down low, but you know, it's good. It'll be fine. I am thinking I may put a gusset like here or here on the top and bottom, but we got to get our light mounted before I can get that in there. So I just want to make sure we got a lot of inches of weld into this face, because if somebody goes to yanking on this guy, you know, I want to make sure that this whole thing's not going to rip off. All right, so on the topic of ripping stuff off, as you can tell, this has all been modified here. This was cut out to fit fog lights and had a washer on it, and that's not cool. So I need to do something with that. I haven't quite got my head fully wrapped around what I'm going to do yet. At this point, the factory frame is our weak point, which hasn't really been a problem to my understanding. I don't know. More cut and grinded. Yay. And we're back on the bumper. So the thing is, we had those pieces down there on the ground, and they'd been modified to fit the fog light, and that ain't cool. I ain't about that life. So what I've come up with is I want to tie the bumper into these bolts here. I don't need to get them into all four, but if I can tie the bumper mounting into these two guys, I'm going to feel a lot more comfortable. So what I want to do is basically make an angle piece. So we got our CAD, cardboard aided design, and we're going to make this guy kind of like that. Obviously we're going to cut it down, and I got a piece of 1/4 inch plate, so we're gonna do all that fun stuff. I think what we need to do is measure back to the center and establish a flat edge, and I think that'll make drilling this stuff a lot better, and we'll get some 1 inch longer bolts and we'll just tie it in. I'm just gonna do it on the outside on both sides. I'm not gonna try to do inside and outside. I don't think that that's fully necessary, but this is all just like 1/8 inch sheet metal, and I'm just worried if somebody goes yanking on this thing, it's gonna get ripped off and they're gonna be in bigger problems. So anyways, we're gonna do what we can here. Try to minimize liability for everybody. Okie dokie. There we go. So that'll all get snugged down. That'll get cut out accordingly. I'm gonna gusset the top of this, the bottom, actually, maybe the middle. Probably gonna gusset the middle. All right, guys, if you like what we do here, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We've got exclusive content coming for that. And if there is anything I can do for you, whether it be parts or fabrication or full installs or full builds, please feel free to reach out. Shoot me an email, cody@codycrafted.com. Check out the website. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Like, share, subscribe. Smash the bell.